Hi everyone, you're welcome to Sew Style with GB. My name is Grace, and in today's tutorial we are going to be learning how to draft the pattern for this off-shoulder top. This video is going to be in two parts. This will be the drafting part and the next video will be the sewing part. So for this tutorial I use less than 1 yard for this style. So if it is something you want to learn, you need to keep watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video as well. Thank you. Let's get started. To get started, I have marked my starting point line, and because this is going to be off shoulder, you are going to determine how off you want it to be. So for me, I want it to be off by 6 inches. So I'm going to keep my tape on 6 inches on the starting point line, and I will go ahead and mark my bust point line, and then I went ahead to mark my under bust line, which is 12.5, and then I went ahead to mark the waistline. In this I'm using 15.5 for the waistline, and then I'll also mark that and then go ahead and connect my horizontal line. So depending on how off you want this to be, you can decide to come down by 4, 5 inches or 6 inches. In my own case, I came down by 6 inches. So this is my bust point, my under bust and my waistline. So on the bust point, you want to go ahead and mark half of your nipple to nipple measurement, and you want to mark half of your nipple to nipple measurement on the bust point, under bust and on the waistline, and then you want to go ahead and roll a straight line. So whatever thing you have as the half of your nipple to nipple measurement, you want to add ½ inch to it and mark on your starting point. So if your nipple to nipple measurement is 7 inches, you divide by 2, it's going to give you 3.5. So on the starting point line, you are going to mark 4 inches. So I added ½ inch to it for me to be able to mark on the starting point line. So on the starting point line, I'm going to mark half of my shoulder measurement. So you want to go ahead and mark half of your shoulder measurement. So, and the next thing is to get your bra to bra strap for the front part. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So to get your perfect width for your off shoulder pattern, you need to get your bra to bra strap for the front. You want to measure the place you want the off shoulder to start from, and then you want to get the bra to bra strap of that at that point, and then you want to go ahead and divide by 2. Whatever thing you got as the value, you divide it by 2, and you are going to mark as your bra to bra strap. We are also going to do the same for the back. Whatever thing you get from the back, you divide by 2. In my own case, my bra to bra strap is 11 inches, so I'm going to divide this by 2 because I'm drafting one part of the front. So I divided the bra to bra strap by 2. Then on the starting point line, I marked it. So the excess I have there is 1.5 inches. So my shoulder, half of my shoulder line is 7 inches, so I marked it, and I went ahead to mark half of my bra to bra strap, which is 5.5, and the remaining excess I have around there is 1.5 inches, and that 1.5 inches I'm going to use it to take a dart. So I took a dart of 0.75 on both sides of the starting point line. Then I went ahead to connect to the bust point. So these how I normally draft my off shoulder pattern to be able to get the perfect width of my off shoulder. So you want to divide your shoulder measurement by 2 and mark, and then you want to go ahead and also divide your bra to bra strap by 2, and whatever excess you have, you use it to contour the upper part. So that is what I did. So on the under bust, I'm gonna be taking that of 2 inches. So towards the side seam I mark 1.5, and towards the center front I marked ½ inch. So towards this side I marked ½ inch, and towards the other side I marked 1.5 inches for my dart. So I want to go ahead and contour this. So from the under bust point, you want to connect to the under bust like this. So you also want to do the same for the other side as well. So did you see what I have? So I've been able to contour this. So you want to like use your curve ruler and blend this part. Did you see what I'm doing? So you want to like use your curve ruler and blend it out. So the next thing is to keep your tape on the 6 inches and then mark your armhole line or the chest line. So this is for us to be able to mark the bust point, the bust line. So for my bust is 35 inches. So if I divide by 2, it's going to give me 17.5. So I'm going to be adding 1 inch to my bust. Instead of using 35, I'm going to be making use of 36 inches for my bust. So for my front bust is going to be 19 and my back bust is going to be 17. And the reason is because the front bust is fuller than the back bust. So my front bust is 19 while my back bust is 17. So you can watch my video on how I got this. So I have a detailed tutorial on how to go about getting your front bust and your back bust. So my front bust is 19 inches. So I went ahead to divide 19 inches by 2, and whatever I have, I'm going to mark it on the chest line. So I'm going to mark it on the chest line, and from that you want to also check and know if there is any that intake around that point. Then you want to go ahead and add it. So for me, I have it as 0.25, and from the shoulder line I want to make a connection to the chest line to draw my armhole. So from that shoulder line you want to draw your armhole to the chest line. Did you see that? So that is actually very easy and simple to make. So from the under bust, you mark 1/4 of your under bust circumference. Then you are going to check your dart intake and also mark. You also want to do the same for the waistline. You mark 1/4 of your waist circumference. So I guess I made mistake on the under bust, so I went ahead to remark that. So on the waistline you want to mark 1/4 of your waist circumference, and you also want to add the dart intake on the waistline, and then you want to go ahead and connect this part. So after I was done connecting, this is what I have. Did you see that? So the next thing I want to do is to mark my bust dart, and for me to do that, you want to get the length of your front waistline and the length of your back waistline. So the length of my front waistline is 15.5 and the length of my back waistline is 14 inches. So the difference between my front and back waistline is 1.5 inches. So on the bust point line, I came down by 1.5 inches and connected to the bust point. So that's how to get your bust dart. You check the difference between your front waistline and your back waistline, and whatever thing you have, you are going to use it as the bust point. Always remember that the front waistline is usually longer than the back waistline due to the bust at the front. The bust at the front tend to add to the length of the front pattern. So that's why the front pattern and the back pattern are not the same. So the next thing now is to take my neckline. So you want to take the neckline of your choice, and to do that you want to keep your tape. You want to keep your tape on the 7 inches and determine the width of or the depth of your neckline. So for me, I want to use 6.5, and from this part you want to go ahead and connect like this. So because of the top we are working with, the neckline is rounded, so you are going to be getting a round neckline. So you want to go ahead and connect your neckline. So this is how the neckline of the front is going to be. So this is the front part, and then I'll go ahead and mark the back part. To get started with the back part, I'm going to clean up these lines, so I'll be able to mark the horizontal line for the back part. So I'm going to mark a line here. So this part is going to be the back part. So the next thing you want to do is to keep your tape on the 6 inches. If you are using 6 inches, then you want to mark your bust point line, and then you mark the back waistline. So the back waistline is 14 inches, the front is 15.5, the back is 14. So this is the back waistline, as you can see, and this is the bust point line. So you want to go ahead and connect the width of your pattern. The width of your pattern should be able to cover the bust circumference of the back. Then you want to like go ahead and connect this part. So this is the bust point and this is the waistline. And here is the center back. So from the center back on the waistline, you want to go inward by 1 inch to remove the zipper bulging effect. So you want to go ahead and connect, take it up to the starting point line, and then you want to go ahead and connect like this. So we have successfully taken off the zipper bulging effect. So at this point, I didn't know that my camera cut off the back part while I was drafting it. So I have to like get another pattern paper to like draft out the back part as well, like draft it again. I'm sorry about that. So my camera cut off the back part when I was drafting it, and like my camera went off, so I didn't know. So I'm going to be drafting the back part again. So I'm going to keep my tape on the 6 inches, mark my bust point line and the waistline. So sorry about that. So this is the bust point, and this is the waistline. Sorry, this is the waistline. I was a bit angry, like, but it's fine. So I'll also go ahead and mark out the zipper bulge effect, just like I did for the back when I was drafting. You go inward from the center back by 1 inch, and then you want to mark your zipper bulging effect to the starting point line. So the next thing is to take my dart. And to take my dart, you want to get half of your nipple to nipple measurement. You also want to make sure you mark it on the bust point and on the starting point line. So I'm using the exact line for both of bust point, waistline, and the starting point line. So when you are done connecting it, on the waistline you want to mark 1 inch as your dart, half inch on both sides, and you're going to connect to the bust point just like what you see me doing. And from there you want to mark 1/4 of your waist circumference plus 1 inch for your dart. So on the starting point you want to mark half of your shoulder measurement. So half of your shoulder measurement, and then you want to also get the bra to bra strap for the back. For my own, I have it as 11 divided by 2 is going to give me 5.5. You want to go ahead and mark that 5.5. After marking it, you want to check the excess you have to the shoulder line. So I have as excess of 1.5 inches, and on the both side I mark 0.75 inch on both sides. So I'm not going to be connecting this to the bust point. If I connect this dart to the bust point, it's going to form a cup at the back. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be taking the dart straight to the waistline. You want to take the dart straight to the waistline to avoid you having like a cup or pointy part at that back part. So you also want to keep your tape on 6 inches and then mark your armhole line, the chest line. So on the chest line, you want to measure your waist, your chest, your bust circumference. Mine is 17 inches. And because I'm drafting one part of the back, I'm going to divide 17 inches by 2. And whatever thing I have, I'm going to mark on the chest line. And I'm going to add up my dart line and my dart intake on the chest, like on the bust line, and then you want to go ahead and connect. So I marked half of my bust circumference for the back, then added the dart inches on the chest line, and then connected from the shoulder to the bust line for my armhole. And then from the bust line you want to also connect to the waistline, and After that, you also want to go ahead, keep your tape on 6 inches and mark the depth of your neckline, and then you want to go ahead and connect the neckline. So this is what I have. So this is what I did on the back part of the main pattern. So this is what I have. So this is the back part. So you want to bring out the main pattern and test if everything matches together. You can see. So I want to go ahead and cut off this part now. So after I'm done cutting it, I will test it. You can see is the exact thing I have on the main pattern is what I also have on that drafted pattern. So the next thing is to check the armhole to know if the armhole of the front matches with the armhole of the back. If the armhole of the front is shorter than the back, you want to go ahead and extend it a bit, but in my own case everything aligns together. So in case maybe the front is maybe shorter, you want to extend it to meet up with the back part and then reconnect it to the main bodice. So to get my sleeve, my off shoulder sleeve, you want to measure from the starting point line to the chest line of your off shoulder pattern. It is same thing for the front and the back. From the starting point line of your off shoulder to the chest line, whatever you have is what you're going to be using as your calf's height. So this is how I draft my own off shoulder pattern. So this is going to be my off shoulder pattern, and whatever measurement I have from the chest, from the starting point of my off shoulder to the sleeve, the chest line, so I have it as 2.5, and that is what I'm going to mark on this part. This is going to be my calf's height. Remember, this is how I mark my off shoulder pattern. So in case you have your own way of doing that, you can go ahead and do yours, but this is how I do mine to be able to get my off shoulder pattern. So you want to like mark a straight line at that point, and on this point you also want to mark your armhole circumference, like half of your armhole circumference, and you want to mark it on that part. So to get the width of your off shoulder sleeve pattern, you want to go ahead and measure the shoulder circumference just like this. So when you measure your shoulder, you want to go ahead and measure your round shoulder circumference. So whatever you get as your shoulder circumference, you want to mark. Mine is 38 inches. Then you want to bring your front bra to bra strap and the back bra to bra strap and add it up together. So my front bra to bra strap is 11, the back is 11 also. So when I add the two together, I'm going to get 22 inches. So I'm going to be subtracting 22 inches from 38 inches. So you want to go ahead and subtract 22 inches to 38 from 38 inches, which is your round shoulder circumference. So what I have after subtracting 22 inches from 38 inches is 16, and that 16 you want to divide it by 2. One part of the sleeve is going to be 8 inches. The width of one part of the sleeve is going to be 8 inches, and the other part is going to be 8 inches. So I'm going to be drafting the sleeve. So for the sleeve now, you want to divide the 8 inches by 2 because you are drafting one part of it. You know this sleeve is going to be cut on fold, and when you divide the 8 inches by 2, you're going to have 4. So on the upper part, you want to mark 4 inches, and then on the sleeve height, the calf's height, you want to mark your armhole circumference, and then you want to go ahead and connect your armhole. So after connecting my armhole, so I want to check the armhole of the sleeve and the main pattern, and as you can see, the sleeve pattern is 0.25 inch longer than the main pattern. So at that point, I want to like kind of reduce it. So that was what I did here. So I went ahead to like reduce that part. So if the sleeve pattern is shorter, you want to go up and increase the sleeve pattern. You want the armhole of the front, the sleeve pattern, and the main pattern to be the same. So that's what you're going to do. So that's how I get my off shoulder pattern. So on the upper part here, my 8 inches which I got from my measurement, I divided it by 2 and marked 4 inches. So that was what I marked here. and then I went ahead to connect my armhole. So on the cap's height, I marked half of my armhole circumference. So the next thing you want to do is to mark the length of your sleeve, starting from this point where you want the off shoulder sleeve to start from. You measure your elbow line and then measure the length of the sleeve if you want it to be a long sleeve. So you want to go ahead and take your sleeve length, the elbow line, and then the length of the sleeve that you are working with. On the elbow, you mark half of your elbow circumference, and on here, on the length, you mark your wrist circumference, and then you want to go ahead and connect like this. So you want to go ahead and connect. So if you have a bigger arm, I would just advise you to connect using the straight line. But if you're on a slim side, you can use the curve part like this to curve in that part to avoid excess. So for me, I normally use the curve part. But if you're working with a client that has a bigger arm, you just keep it straight, because if you use that curve part and curve it in a bit, it's going to affect that part. So but for me, I'm on a slim side, so I'm going to be using the curve part to curve out my sleeve. So on this part, you want to come down by half an inch, because the sleeve is not going to be straight. You want it to be a bit curvy. So that's the line I'm going to be making use of. So this is my off shoulder sleeve. So this is how I draft my off shoulder sleeve. So I'll go ahead and cut out my pattern. So to cut off your pattern, you want to check the dart leg of this part and also check the other side. So one is a bit longer, so you want to extend the one that is shorter by the allowance that you have on the other side. So I guess one is a bit longer than the other side by 0.25. So you want to go ahead and extend like this. Did you see? Extend it back to the line. So this is just to avoid that part being shortened. So by the time you cut it out, the two sides is going to mash together. So by the time I'm done, and this is what I have, you see, by the time you check the two sides, everything matches together. So you want to cut the front part. You want to open the dart of the waistline to the bust point, and then you want to go ahead and close the bust dart. Did you see? When you close it up, you can use your seal tape or pin and hold it down. Then you want to also remark that side seam. You want to remark that part, and then you want to go ahead and continue your cutting. So for this part, you also want to close up the dart. So you can see when you close up the dart, the two lines will not be matching together. So you want to go ahead and remark that point. You want the two sides to match together, so that after you are done cutting it, the two side one will not be longer than the other side. So when you are done, you continue with your cutting. So when you are done, this is what you have. You can see the two side matches together. And also the side seam matches together. The side seam of the front and the back matches together. You want to go ahead and cut the sleeve as well. So after I was done, this is what I have. In the next video, we're going to be sewing this. So if you have enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, share this video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.